Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NFT Morning Show. If it is your first time listening, we run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, entertainment, gaming, finance, and just about everything in between. I'm your host, Pio. Nifty Nick is not going to be with us today, but we got this all-star squad as usual. First off, Signal, coder turned content creator, the host of Artist Spotlight, the weather reporter extraordinaire. Love hearing Signal's sophisticated takes on the NFT market. She's been sporting a cap to rep the hat squad here on YouTube, since we all also have hats. Easy Eats Bodega, the host of GM Market Talk, the dog behind Bodogos, the centerpiece of Buy Seller Send It to Zero with Easy Eats Bodega, of course. Day trader extraordinaire, absolute badass market participant. King Kicks, the CEO of Crypto Raiders Gaming Studio, Cyber Stadium popping off, 200K plus in that prize pool. 100% goes to the players. The intelligent degenerate, he booked quite a bit of profit in the past month. I think you need to mute on Twitter, buddy. We got Clemente, producer extraordinaire. Just make sure you mute on Twitter, Kicks. Producer extraordinaire. The man behind the scenes, always crushing it. Kicks is mad at me that I made him go in the other room to mute, but I think it's going to be for the best. But wouldn't be able to do the show without Clemente. Your favorite segments are created and curated by him. And last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says that Bored Ape Yacht Club costs less than 85 grand.
What happened, dude?
How, like, is that going to just cripple you financially, Bunny?
Well, I mean, it doesn't cripple me financially. Like, my kids probably can't go to college, but it just makes me sad, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on. Even when they tweet stuff, price don't go up anymore. I'm dying for another. Remember, fuck it, mutants for I need one of those again, man.
Yeah. I mean, Nick said, do you remember when Nick said that he predicts a price point of like 30 grand or something for Bored Apes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little. That's Nick being Nick, right? Like, it's not gonna go that fucking low.
How low do you think it's gonna go, buddy?
I could see it going to I think I could see it going to 40 ETH.
40 ETH. That's like basically where it's at now, dude.
Well, it's at 40, 46.
5 more ETH,
right now.
Well,
what call is that? It's like, yeah, I can see it going right where it is right now, and we're here.
It's at 46, dude. It's literally 10 grand above that. Like, you guys are off by 5 ETH.
Okay, well, guess what, buddy? I can also see it going that low. So thank you for that Maverick level prediction. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discuss the spike in gas fees that's causing several project delays. Oh, I love this. This is my favorite. The U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen. Oh, it's too bad Nick's not here because Nick loves Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell. He's going to get like the tattoos and all that. But we're going to talk about Janet Yellen sounding the alarm to Congress. I believe I saw a quote that she said that we need to raise the debt ceiling so that other countries don't think that we're a deadbeat country. So we're not a bunch of deadbeats. You're right, Janet. No, you're not. And another edition, of course, of Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega. This show is sponsored by our free NFT platform. Right now, it's a free NFT platform. It's going to grow into a lot more. The Nifty.com, TheNifty.com. If you go and sign up, you'll subscribe to our newsletter, but more importantly, you'll have an account ready to claim today's free NFT. So you want to be, you're going to want to be ready for that. And I don't want to hear that you weren't ready later in the show when we give the password for the free NFT. Anyway, let's rock and roll over to the weather report. Signal, please take it away.
Yeah, GM, everyone. If you watch Succession, hit me up on Twitter. So volume coming up at 25.3 million across the market. That's actually pretty good. We are up on total volume. Blur is at 18.5. So they've also seen a increase overnight, while Opensea down at 5.6. We should be asking not how low Bored Ape Yacht Club can go. We should be asking how low can Opensea volume go. I'm calling it down to around 2 to 3 million. Yeah, 2 million is my call in the next 30 days. On to the leaders. You got Apes at 85K. We've spoken about that. Mutants at 10.5. Punks at 50.5. Azuki holding nicely at 15.3, while D-Gods, a little bit of pump there, 8.8. Captains, 7.1. Pudgy's holding nicely. Moonbird slightly down under mint at 2.3. Over the past 24 hours, well, D-Gods, obviously, we were talking about it on the show yesterday. Easy guessed it right. That became the next collection to be added to Blend. Out of the gate, the price action was very strong, pumped up to 9.2. And on the Benipple loans, you could actually have picked up a D-God for as low as 1.24 ETH. Collection now settled around 8.8. On to Artifact. Well, Twitter account Kane_Boudouin tweeted that if the deadline for Artifact forging had been today, in fact, roughly only 3/4 of the collection would have been forged. That is pretty low. Benito from Artifact retweeted, there is absolutely no reason for any of these not to be forged. Luckily, there is an extension until May 10th. Hopefully, some of those numbers can go a bit higher. Onto the PFP side of the market, and Gary V and Snowfro have joined the roster of rektguy collectors. Rektguy down bad, but never dead. That is holding a 0.52 ETH floor. And lastly, Yuga is hiring their first head of business development gaming. This is a big role. This person is going to be pivotal in bringing blockchain gaming to the masses by establishing those strong relationships with outside game developers and identifying those strategic partners for IP integration. The role is paying the bucks. The role is paying the bucks at 250,000 to 300,000 salaries. So if you think you can be the first head of business development gaming, there's a job open for you. Onto crypto, we've got BTC down at 27.6, ETH holding at 1.8. Solana, unfortunately, going closer down to 20.8, still going down as well, down to 3.3. So a bit of a pullback on some of these numbers. So the weather looking pretty rainy and overcast out there. Back to you, folks.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Signal. While Gary V and Snowfro buying rektguy. Shout out to OSF and Mando for the success of rektguy, attracting some big time collectors there. Man, we're gonna go into the digest in just a second. Spencer has just joined. Spencer of Spencer Ventures. Absolutely thrilled to have him on the show as usual. How's it going, Spencer?
Well, I don't know. You're thrilled to have me here, and I'm just kind of meh to be here today. I don't know how it is. I don't know if it's just because it's it's a PO only morning show, and I miss my daily dose of Nick. That's probably what it is, But Signal, I'm happy to see at least. So there's that.
And Spencer, you're starting your day with some kombucha. It can't be that bad.
But it's pretty middle of the road kombucha. This is like the Amazon cheapest kombucha they have. This is
not like synergy. Stuff. It's not synergy level.
Yeah,
like
no, it's not synergy level. This is not, the go to CVS and pay $6. This is go on Amazon and pay like $1.
And Spencer, I've got to say, you look different today, because normally Spencer's like in his drip, and now you're coming out here with just like a regular shirt. Is everything okay? You're just like in a regular shirt, a regular purple shirt.
It's just the bear market Tuesday vibes. I don't know how to tell it to you in any other way.
Shitcoins had a heavy effect on him this past week.
Dude, watching everybody else make that generational wealth while I faded coins with no utility has been traumatic. It's been tough to watch, tougher even on the wallet. I'm out here though. As we are making it day by day, hour by hour.
Tough life, but he's out here. He's got the kombucha out of the can. You got to get the kombucha out of the dark bottle. That's the key to kombucha. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit of degradation. Anyway, some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Crypto exchange Bittrex filed for bankruptcy in Delaware amid operational struggles and an SEC lawsuit, while its non-U.S. branch, Bittrex Global, remained unaffected. Following Azuki had a Pepe airdrop to holders with the frog trade.
$8.
$8. Nice. Cubs holders with 3 or more Cubs in their crew received 5 million Pepe. How many dollars was that? Like not
9.75.
Dude, like, why would you even do that? Like, they can't even sell it. They can't even sell it for more.
They did a maps game within their Discord where you could go and steal, you could tip people with Pepe. So it's basically within the system. Only if you withdraw it, you have to pay gas. So it was like they did a little interaction.
Oh, okay. So it's like a custodial, like centralized kind of thing, like
they're using it as like in-game currency.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, I retract my statement.
There you go. Last update, Artifact extended its Air Force One forging deadline to May 10th after less than 80% of each eligible shoe model was forged. Why even have a deadline? Like, what are the NFTs? I mean,
they're making them bespoke to your size, right? Like, that's the whole thing, is that there's only exactly a certain amount of supply. Yeah. And so for there to be exactly a certain amount of supply, they don't have like stock they're holding, right? They have an assembly line they're going to take apart at the end of this print run. So I think it's actually pretty reasonable. I also will cop to being one of the shoes I own 10% of and have yet to forge because I'm lazy. And I saw that they were extending the deadline, but we'll be forging that pretty soon.
But gas is high too, which turned like over the last 2 weeks, a lot of people weren't paying $300 on top of it to forge the sneaker. Like, it's like, great, I just spent $1,000. Let me just go throw 30% of the cost to then make the shoe physically arrive, or wait 2 weeks and pay $11.
That's pretty funny that Spencer's going to actually have a material impact on that newsletter update. Like the percentage that's in that newsletter, he's literally going to have a material impact on. I wonder, I think Nick did forge. I sold my NFT, the Murakami NFT. I think Nick did forge his Murakami sneaker. He said that he had to check like 7 or 8 boxes and like go through a lot to do it. And I was like, yeah, that's a lot easier than just buying a pair of shoes on Nike.com or StockX or something. We still got a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. I saw Bunny raise his hand. Bunny, something to add before we dive in here?
Yeah. So no, it was like on the Pepe thing, and then I put my hand down. So somebody tweeted that, I think it was Kenobi, who's been like a big Pepe maxi. He tweeted that he was browsing Opensea and he couldn't pay in Pepe. And he was wondering when they were going to integrate that. And Opensea quote tweeted it and said, "Put your notifications on." So it looks like it's going to be added to Opensea Pro.
Wow.
Nice. They're really trying to pump that 5.4 million a day in volume.
Turn on your notifications. This is the big move from Opensea here.
Turn your notifications on. You can buy your shitcoin NFTs with your shit coin.
People were talking, I mean, like people were trying to push a rumor that Pepe was going to get listed on Coinbase. NASDAQ.
I don't know if you saw the screenshot. There was like, if you look at, it was like a frequently asked question, I think. It's like a canned response. It's like, sign up to our fucking email for more updates on when Pepe coin gets listed. But I'm sure it has that for like other coins that you search.
I like Kix's bet a little bit better. Facebook, Apple, Pepe, just a healthy basket
bigger, dude. These guys are thinking too small.
I like it. I'm glad that we have Spencer here to talk about Janet Yellen's quote that everybody's talking about. We're going to get to that in just 1 second. First, I just wanted to call out like this Blur volume versus OpenSea volume gap is just getting wider and wider. Just a quick thought, like, is OpenSea going to like fail over the next, 6 to 12 months? This is kind of crazy. Spencer, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't think OpenSea, like, the world where OpenSea totally fails would be due to cash mismanagement. So the big question with OpenSea is how big was their tax liability and what did they do with their ETH, right? So like the big issue that most large companies face that would cause them to fail at that size right now would be if all of their 2.5% royalties were kept in ETH and you have revenue against capital losses and you can't deduct the decreased price of ETH from the tax liability, and then they're basically underwater there and can't raise additional funding. Like that would be the world where they fail. I don't think that that's a huge possibility. I think even if they're in really bad shape, their brand is still worth something, and like someone would bail them out if they were literally closing their doors. So I think we see OpenSea stick around, but like, is it going to be X2, Y2 level relevant? Is it going to be looks rare level relevant? Is it going to be like actually relevant? Like, I don't know, right? It's like it may become a zombie company at some point, but also it may go public in the next cycle. Like that's not unreasonable to think. Blur, I don't think is gearing up to go public. And so it still would be beneficial for NFTs overall if it went public, right? Like Coinbase isn't the highest volume marketplace for coins. It's relatively high volume, but Binance is bigger than Coinbase by a lot. And that didn't stop Coinbase from going public, right? So like, I don't know, but Coinbase definitely, when it went public, I think was bigger than it is today as a percentage of market share. So there are these variables to weigh in, but I would say that OpenSea is still the closest NFT marketplace to going public, and that's really, really important for the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's totally a fair take. I don't know, Easy, do you have any thoughts on this volume gap widening?
I mean, you got to think who's still around right now. You know what I mean? Like right now, it's basically just traders like in this market. So for me, it's like that's what's driving most of the volume. And until retail re-enters the space at like any sort of capacity or until there's a catalyst for it, it becomes a little bit more difficult for me to even like start to speculate that Blur could kill OpenSea, because to Spencer's point, they raised peak bull run. So like they have cash on hand. And on top of it, like it doesn't look like Blur's gearing up to go public anytime soon. So I don't think that that's even like kind of a conversation at this point. I don't think OpenSea dies. I think it's still way more of like the retail friendly. It's like Robinhood, I don't think does more volume than like a Charles Schwab, or like a Fidelity. So like that's how I look at it, is like the retail experience is still the retail experience.
And Kix, any thoughts on this at all?
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that right now in like the absolute pico bottom of like volume for NFTs, I don't want to make, too many sweeping judgments. I'm pretty sure OpenSea has a decent enough CFO that they're like not going to run out of cash. And
Their CFO left.
Great. Yeah. He probably left because
he left like almost a year ago.
So damn well.
So they don't have a CFO? That's a pretty big company to not have a CFO.
I'm not sure if they don't have a CFO. I wouldn't stand by that statement, but they had a CFO that was big and fancy and was definitely gearing them up to go public. And when it became clear that they were not going public, he
just yeeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he yeeted out. That's fine. Fuck him. Go back to Web 2. Just kidding, man. Maybe we'll work together one day. That was a joke. But yeah, I think I don't want to make too much of a sweeping judgment. I'm pretty sure that they have cash in the bank. They already made some decent
counterpoint here is look at Ledger, right? Ledger should have cash in the bank at all times and somehow manages to consistently run out of that cash in like 6 month sprints, and has had to raise funding every 6 months for the last like 2-3 years at like hundreds of millions of dollars, and nobody knows where the money goes. Like this is like a weird
because
thing.
I think Ledger's running on the play, the 20 like the last decade playbook where it was ZERP and you could just raise indefinitely and never make money. It seems like OpenSea, they don't seem to be raising as aggressively. Basically my point is that I'm not going to count OpenSea out, because what is going to matter in the next big NFT run is retail, and I think OpenSea still has a brand with retail. Now, can Blur take that market away from OpenSea as well? Possibly, but yeah, I'm not going to count like, OpenSea out, just yet, but Blur is definitely looking very strong here positionally.
Yeah, for sure. Signal, any thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the same page as everyone else. I wouldn't count them out at all on this, even if volume does go low. I think if you were going to bring a friend into the space, like we all did, like which one would you send them to? Would you send them to Blur? Would you send them to OpenSea? I would be more comfortable sending them to OpenSea, just from a UI perspective, that when I walk out the room, they haven't clicked the wrong button, because the UI is very like friendly and easy for a beginner. And in any market as well, you're always going to have sort of like the big four, but the big four could be very different in size, but still relevant. So going back to what Spencer was saying, it's just like, okay, they might not be number one anymore, but there's definitely a place where they could be number 2, 3, and 4. And all of those 4 platforms get volume, just different amount of volume. I think for a company like OpenSea, hopefully they've managed their treasury correctly. And it's just about battling down the hatches, becoming as lean as possible in terms of their team size, not growing, going back to their roots, and just surviving until, for the next 12 to 18 months. And hopefully being able to come out with a product or service that is compelling to the market, but not copying Blend as a product, which only caters to a very, very small section of the market, but coming out with something which is more compelling and that people will want to use. If they can be innovative still, there's definitely room for them within the market.
Yeah, I mean, they can try to copy Blend. The problem was that they didn't really innovate or do anything, quite frankly, it seems, until Blur started eating their lunch. People complained for months and months and months that they wouldn't ship updates. And then all of a sudden, Blur comes out and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll be shipping updates every 2 weeks.
But name one update they've shipped.
OpenSea Pro.
But like,
Tons.
what does it do?
They've done tons. Like the UI has got better over the years. There's been smaller features, but they have changed the UI for the last
Spencer,
couple of like 12 months.
It was really bad before, man. It's
Yeah,
actually
okay.
like usable now.
But OpenSea Pro is an upgrade on OpenSea, but it's just a reskin gem.
That's one angle. But for example, let's say you want to list something on OpenSea now, you can click like floor. Like you couldn't do that before. You had to manually put in.
All right,
like
this is fair. This is true.
And
I forget that they've upgraded
too.
because
like you
I
can
don't
group
use them
stuff
that much.
together and mass floor stuff. Like they've definitely taken experiences from Blur that the consumer was like, this is way better. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I still prefer Blur every time, but like, they've
Yeah, and
tried
there's
some
room
stuff.
for both. There's room for both. You know what I mean? There's Amazon, there's eBay. eBay is still worth $24 billion. It's big in the car part scene. OpenSea has ERC 1155s. That's their car part. So, you know, I think we're good.
Yeah, by no means was I giving OpenSea like mad props. I was just saying like they implemented something whereas like last year there was probably like a 7.5 month period where it was like, we're not gonna do anything. Like the site's going to be functional, but we're not going to add anything.
I mean, just to add, sorry, Pio, you know, if we want to talk about what is a product or service or feature that they could, if they wanted to, they could just like lean into it more, is the artist drops. Because Nifty Gateway, every time there's an artist drop, which is even like slightly popular, that platform falls over itself. And you're always hearing about like people complaining, the website not refreshing. Like if you've ever gone through that experience, it's extremely frustrating. And there's just room for like a platform like OpenSea just to take that section of the market and run with it and make artist platforms, make artist drops just a smooth, a lovely experience that when you buy the art, you felt like, yeah, this is part of the service, and not like this angry feeling you have towards the artist, the tech, and the fact that your money isn't being taken, or it has been taken and it's been taken too many times on your credit card. So I'm like, for me, that's just like an open window, just like improve artist drops and make that experience better, and just essentially take away what Nifty Gateway hasn't been able to improve on.
Yeah, I got to think that Nifty, well, like Grant Yun dropping on Nifty Gateway basically added, 3 months, 4 months of lifespan to Nifty Gateway from what I can tell. Even though they botched the drop, it's still like a pretty big, it's a huge name. It's like a top 5 name to drop on the platform. And before that, I can't think of the last like super significant quote unquote crossover drop in the sense that it went mainstream in the NFT space. Anyway, glad that we have Spencer on the show today and his bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Chicago, because we got to talk about Janet Yellen sharing a scary projection that the U.S. Treasury will likely run out of cash by June 1st. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the economist of the year. Let's go.
Early June is when we project that we will run out of cash, and there is a chance it could be as early as June 1st. Of course, there is a lot of uncertainty, and I plan to update Congress as new information becomes available, but that's still our current thinking.
Are there extraordinary measures you can take around that time, or is that it?
Well, really, that's it. We've been using extraordinary measures for several months now, and our ability to do that is running out, and we will start to run down our cash. And our current projection is that in early June, a day will come when we're unable to pay our bills unless Congress raises the debt ceiling
For everyone.
I mean, boy, is she sharp. That's like watching Stephen Curry in his prime right there. Stephanopoulos really holding their feet to the fire there. So look, what's the deal? I mean, Pomp's been sounding the alarm on this. Balaji's been sounding the alarm on this.
I don't think this is a big deal. This is just, maybe this is me being like a little too jaded, but I feel like this always happens where they're like, oh, we're like, what if we don't raise the debt ceiling? And like, this is the reason that like it always sounds weird when they question the Fed about this, is because like the answer is they just have to fucking raise the debt ceiling. There's just like, there is no scenario where that doesn't happen.
Right.
I think the scenario where that doesn't
You're right.
happen is like government fails and its main I mean, maybe this happens, but who does it serve? The answer is like, it is not beneficial to really anybody for the debt ceiling to not increase. And it's the type of mess that is like not clean upable. Like this is like permanently wrecking the United States globally is what happens. And so like, I don't think that's really in the interest of even either political party. Like, I don't think it's even in the scope of like, oh, like we should make sure this happens under like a Democratic president so that Republican presidents win the next election. Like, I don't think this is within the scope of that.
Oh,
I think this is literally so bad that like nobody wants it, and anyone involved in this not happening would look bad.
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. And even if like Trump gets in there, in the next election, he's going to be like, the debt ceiling's much too low. I think it needs to be much higher. I'm hitting my head on the debt ceiling right now.
We have the greatest debt ceilings in the whole world. They need to increase. We need more of our great debt ceilings.
He's gonna raise it because it's like let's pump the markets, and who cares about exacerbating the wealth gap? I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kicks.
I think personally, if you just look at it, it's kind of like the boomer generation just ran up some huge credit card bills so they could just straight chill, and they're just, planning on screwing us all over. So I think that what we got to do is, Social Security is a Ponzi, just get rid of that and then make all the old people that needed the Social Security, just tax all the other old people that are rich and have been screwing us over and make them pay for those people's Social Security. I think that's what we should do. And then tell them like you get one more debt ceiling raise, and then you got to figure, you got to balance this shit out, because when we're 60, man, it's gonna be a little harder. You can't just, this is like
with this.
Right. This is like, your parents are just running up massive credit card debt, and you got just one annoying brother that's like, I want to go to fucking Myrtle Beach for the summer, so I don't really care. Just get another credit card, dad. Like, that's what I feel like, dude. It's just, dude, like, how does this get better? Like, we just keep heading down like the worst situation. So eventually we got to tell these old people that, like, you got to fend for yourselves, guys. We're not going to, we're not paying into Social Security anymore because it's not going to exist when we're older. So if you're old and you're rich, you got to pay for your old and poor friends. And that's just how it's going to work. Okay. So figure it out. And yeah.
Very nuanced, sophisticated take from Kicks.
I would say,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Pierre, you always say we do this show Monday to Friday every week. I really want you to think about how long you want to say, like, how long you're going to do this, because Social Security, in a way we're all living, people are going to have to work longer. So how long do you want to do Monday to Friday every week? Because we're going to be doing this until we're like, people in France are striking over the fact that the age limit has been raised for like 2 years. And when I say strike, I mean like every single public service on strike, including like dustbins were like filled for weeks and weeks. Like if you saw the pictures in the news, it was just like garbage city. Like you would never think a city like Paris or a country like France would just look like literally a tip. And this is because the the age limit has just been increased like just a couple of years. In Germany, they work way longer. And in England, also, it's going to be going up. Like everyone in the world is going to have to work a lot longer. So the question becomes like Kix is saying, yes, it's a little bit of a Ponzi, but at the end of the day, what will happen is our generation and younger generations will just have to take on that debt, and that will just have to be serviced by us. There's no other way around this. Obviously, it will have to be increased as well, but the burden will come to the younger generations. That's it.
Well, I'm ready to do this show well into my 70s or 80s. I'm going to be injected with TRT on a weekly basis. I'm going to be more jacked then than I am now. Okay, well, look, I mean, I feel like it's not even worth discussing this. It's like what, like Spencer said, what's going to happen? They're going to raise the debt ceiling.
I remember I was in high school and they fought over the debt ceiling, and it ended up being bad for everybody. That, like, as Spencer said, it ended up being bad for, I think it was like the Republican Party, and Obama was in office, and it ended up kind of blowing back on the Republicans, delaying the debt ceiling raise.
To be clear, though, also, like, this, I think, will look worse at some near point. Like, I trust that this will be an 11th hour thing that they do
every time.
Every time. It's political theater, and at some point, it's like, you can have a different opinion on this. Like, I think it's reasonable to have a different opinion, but my opinion is that I'm done. I'm not buying tickets to this theater. Not going to go not sit in front row, not shelling out my hard-earned cash. I don't think that this is going to happen. Maybe it does, and it's really bad if it does.
You're saying you don't think this is going to happen, as in that you don't think that they won't raise the debt ceiling?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. So, like, here's the thing. The options are raise the debt ceiling or default on our debt, right? Like,
Which
I just
one do you
don't
think is
think they're
gonna
going
happen?
to default on their debt. Now, maybe they do, but like, what is the real hedge? Like, like, let's say that you think that they're going to default on their debt. How do you prepare for that? Do you like short treasuries? Like, what do you even do?
The Singaporean dollar. It's the safest bet we got for it. That's all
Long
it
the
is.
Singaporean dollar. Dude,
That's it. That's it.
just get your golden visa to Singapore. Drop your like 20 mil or whatever.
Back up the brinks on the Singaporean dollar if we default on our debt, and watch what happens. All right, I'm telling you now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an inside joke on this show, one of several. This one is that easy buy Singaporean dollars, actually, because that's how much of a degen he is. He'll just turn to Forex trading when he needs to. Anyway, this is like literally not even worth talking about. They're going to raise the debt ceiling, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to print more money. Ultimately, that is good for assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, whether or not it's reflected immediately. Obviously, we're in a weird-ass bear market right now. So, we're in a bear market where you literally had the best trade of the past 3 years pop up in a 2.5 week period out of the blue. It was a shit coin called Pepe. I don't know which way is up. Anyway, let's talk about the NFT market specifically. The gas fee situation is kind of, well, it's as bad as it has been in a bit. It's not as bad as it was in late 2021, but the shit coin trading I just talked about is leading to some weird, gwei prices or whatever gas fees on the Ethereum network. And it's actually making some NFT collections cut their supply, I suppose, extend the mint window, mess with the drops. I mean, let's just talk about this at a high level. The collections I'm talking about are imaginary ones and a couple others. But basically, like, who's dropping NFTs right now? What's like a hyped up drop? What's the state of the NFT specific market right now? Because things are kind of weird. Anyone can take it away from here. Anyone got any thoughts on this?
I think right now we've seen a period of time where you've got shit coins doing two things. One, they are literally clogging the chain such there's high gas fees, but two, they're also clogging the attention economy, right?
Yeah.
And I think you see a lot of bigger projects kind of rightfully say, I don't know if I'm making my big announcement when Gwei is at whatever Gwei is at. And
90.
And the timeline is literally just like, I don't know. Like, I had my first weekend in a very long time this weekend where I just kind of didn't look at Twitter very much because I was just like, I don't know that I like care to see all this Pepe stuff right now, which is fine. Like, I'm happy for everyone who made money on Pepe and did those things. But like, I think there's a couple more things. I think if you're looking at what is actually exciting, I think there is some excitement around what you guys are going to roll out, but I think they need to get more to the game part of some of the things they're doing. And I think it wouldn't shock me to see, because there was a few weeks where all we talked about was Dookie Dash. And it wouldn't shock me if there was another game from Yuga that was like very all-consuming of the attention economy. I also think there's going to be a meta pretty soon with, around the Azuki party in Vegas is like a bigger thing than I think people realize in terms of whatever speculation will go on ahead of that, beans, etc. I also think that like if you want to talk like practically, tactically, one of the most obvious things going on in the market right now is that whenever Blur lists a new project for lending, there's like an immediate pump. And so there's going to be like more speculation about what next collection will be turned on for Blur for Blend. We also have some catalysts. It looks like meme land stuff is potentially ramping up. Like, there are things. The bigger question is like, what are the bigger external factors? Like, I don't think that we see as many new projects pop up, although there likely will be one or two. My hope is that the new projects that pop up won't be as shitcoiny as the last set, like Nakamigos, but will be actual projects building things that are longer term, like, I don't know, the Nifty portal. No, but there's a lot of other stuff kind of on the horizon, but I don't know. It's also reasonable that a lot of the good builders may just wait till the next cycle kicks off.
I mean, you might be waiting for a while for that. Easy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's still just like right now people just want something to be excited about. Like, and the thing is, we continue to like, I think there's a lot actually happening outside of even like the traditional ETH realm. Like you look at NFL Rivals, which is a blockchain game that just launched. It's top 10 on the marketplace on the iPhone right now, and it's a blockchain mobile game. And like there's a ton of traction and actual liquidity flowing through that. And we actually just had some breaking news 14 minutes ago. Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, SIBO, and others are collaborating to build a blockchain network called the Canton Network. So some massive brands and Deloitte. Yeah, Deloitte. Can't miss them. Kind of partnering to do this, which I think is like really interesting to see. Yeah, Watcher Guru just shared that. So
well, this is breaking news, but I just Googled Goldman Sachs and clicked on news on Google, and it's literally just a whole page about how they're just paying $215 million to settle a gender discrimination lawsuit. But anyway, back over to you, Easy.
Yeah, so we'll take we'll take this any day of the week, in my opinion, because this is a win for like the actual underlying tech. Like that, you have Sports Illustrated rolling out Polygon ticketing services. So like, yes, it's doom and gloom on the NFT space, but it seems pretty damn clear that we're getting a lot of like technology adoption from some massive players in the use cases that we actually see it. So like, I'm pretty interested to see where it all goes from here. And I think that there are a lot of catalysts, whether it's gaming, ticketing, even these massive corporations taking their own swing on blockchains.
Yeah, I mean, Kix, I want to hear from you. I want to go back to Spencer at some point to talk about the next cycle, but Kix and Signal, please take it away.
Yeah, I think that I mean, if you look at the historical like Ethereum gas prices, like it was at these levels in early 2021. The key difference is that in early 2021, like late 2020, the areas where NFTs were really popping off weren't on Ethereum, right? It was Top Shot, and then it was Nifty Gateway being gasless, and Top Shot was on Flow, right? So I think that, and then when it took off on Ethereum was when Gwei got all the way down to like the 20 to 40 range. Right now we're at 122. So I mean, it's definitely going to continue to hurt Ethereum NFTs until we get back down to those levels. Like really on Ethereum, Gwei's got to be between like 20 and 40 for NFTs to really have some momentum. So I think that the longer that gas stays higher, probably the more likely that, exciting NFT activity is going to happen off of Ethereum. So whether that is Solana, whether that is some of these other things like NFL Rivals that Easy talked about. But I think that the longer that gas stays this elevated on Ethereum, the more likely that if there's anything in the next 45 to 60 days that's going to be exciting on the NFT front, it's probably going to be outside of the Ethereum network, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I would also say as well, like when we're talking about the market is quiet and we're talking about high gas, this is obviously affecting most on the PFP side. And so this quiet period, I feel like it's just accelerating that thesis that we've heard so many times about, like, or not all PFPs, a lot of PFPs are going to go to zero. And I feel like this is the ongoing slippery slope, black red run to that 0%, and it will become more and more difficult for established projects to like climb back up that slope. If you look on the art side, and like we've talked about gaming, that Easy mentioned the NFL side of things. If you look at the art side of the market, that also has been, has taken a punch to the face as well. But I feel like on that side of things, people are more prepared to be patient, get in their WETH offers. The artists who are established and emerging, and people believe that they're here, that the career is here to stay, believe that art, like digital art, will be an asset that will be appreciated in the future by the mass market. These collections and these pieces are being picked up. So it for me, it's kind of like, well, okay, so a lot of PFPs are going down. We try and avoid any sort of falling knives. We try and avoid the collections which potentially won't be able to come back. But I think there's other areas on Ethereum that, even though they have taken a battering, when you look especially on the art side, there is definitely a use case of saying, okay, I think this artist will be here, will be appreciated by the current market, the traditional market. And those are the things that could be some of the most interesting to pick up as we go into this lull and stay in this lull. So I think it's just about looking at different areas and not just constantly looking at the trading PFP side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on two things there. Number one, on the art side, what are you talking about? What you're talking about is the kind of like acceptance and acknowledgement from the traditional art world of just like digital art as a medium, right? And then that there's going to be specific artists that essentially get anointed by the traditional art world from our space. And when you think about it, it's only been like 3 years at most that the traditional art world has even been taking this space relatively seriously. And when I talk to friends of mine that are kind of on that side of the market, it does sound to me like the traditional art world is absolutely ramping up. And on the PFP side, the sort of asterisk I want to put on the stuff that Signal's talking about is a lot of these profile picture collections were just made by people that wanted to make like, 900 grand, among 3 people. It's like one artist, one blockchain developer, and maybe a guy that's pretty good at Twitter marketing. So it's like you got those 3 and they're like, all right, we're going to make 1.1 million. This is going to be crazy. And then they put it out and then they never did anything, right? When essentially what they're really doing is launching a startup, right? And so I think that there will be the existing startups, the Azukis, Meme Lands. I mean, you can go on and on, D-Gods of the world that are actual functioning businesses. But yeah, all those projects that people still insisted to buy when it was pretty clear that they were just going to be, hey, these are 3 guys trying to make a few $100,000 for the first time in their life. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to work. We're going to go to buy, sell, or send it to zero with Easy momentarily. But first, I wanted to throw to Spencer because Spencer, on this show, you've talked about the next bull run, the next cycle, the next bull a few times. And for example, on the Bitcoin show that we have today, we have Eric Voorhees of Shapeshift fame on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool. And I've been preparing for that, listening to some Voorhees, interviews. He did a January interview on Bankless, and he said he actually made price predictions. He said he thinks Bitcoin could be at 40K by the end of the year, which that prediction's actually not looking bad. And he said that he thinks the next bull run could come in the next 6 months to 3 years. Interesting, very interesting predictions. Just to kind of recap, the previous crypto cycles have directly correlated with the Bitcoin halving, which of course happens every 4 years. However, they were all in a kind of environment where interest rates were very low. Now we have a high interest rate environment.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer, how are you thinking about this, Mr. University of Chicago? And when is the next bull run, buddy?
So, okay, here's the thing that you have to understand about crypto is crypto has not been through a full economic cycle before, right? So like crypto, like there was an economic cycle that was entirely post 2008, right? Was this zero interest rate environment for just many, many years, right? And so we had our first cycle kind of in the 2015, 2016 cycle of crypto kind of pulled back. But at that time, it was not correlated to the S&P. The thing that happened in the 2020 cycle was that ETH and Bitcoin became highly correlated in the S&P. Why? Because we saw real institutional adoption. And that real institutional adoption included the same people that just trade the S&P, right? You had Rentech, you had Citadel opening up like trading arms for crypto. And so within the context of high correlation to the S&P, this is the first time we've also seen a crypto crash that is not crypto specific driven, right? This is an all assets pulled back, and crypto is actually doing pretty fine in the context of that as a higher volatility S&P related asset. Now it holds to reason that if crypto pulls back because of macroeconomic conditions, it may now also run because of economic conditions, right? So something else that we haven't seen is during this period of time, after crypto pulls back due to non-crypto specific reasons, general market reasons, right? Now, when general market improves, what happens? Well, we don't know for certain, but I think it's a reasonable, educated guess to say that it will improve, and it will improve dramatically with higher volatility, right? As it does usually in sort of all other aspects of how crypto works. So the big bet right now, I think, if you're in crypto today, is crypto probably just keeps bleeding until the overall all asset market recovers. When does that happen? Well, that happens in sort of 2 stages. One will be when it's very obvious that there will no longer be rate increases. And the second will be when it's very obvious that there will be rate decreases. I think it's fair to say we are in a time period where most people think it is fairly obvious that there will not be substantially more rate increases, right? That sort of has already happened. This is when you saw ETH go from 1,400 to like settling in this $1,900 range, was that realization. But I think where we're at today is it's not obvious when rates will come down, right? I think a lot of people are betting that it may happen by the end of the year, and I'm highly skeptical of that. I think it does not happen this year, but that's a take. That's like a spicy take. It's not a super spicy take, but it's also not a lukewarm take, right? This is where you can have an opinion. It gets interesting from here, right? It could be that everyone is shocked and it's actually like 2 years that they don't decrease interest rates. I think that that's unlikely either. Personally, I think we see somewhere in Q2 to Q4 of 24 is when we see interest rate. Even if we don't necessarily see the interest rate decreases yet, it will become obvious that there are interest rate decreases coming. That's my personal view, but it's also not a strongly held view, right? There's a lot of other variables that can change things in that period of time. But I think that I am cautious, and I think that the real blood to buy will be when the people who think that interest rates will go down before the end of the year get proven wrong. And that's when we really see people get disillusioned with a lot of markets. That's kind of my read on what's going on right now, is people have held out hope, and you really need everyone's hope to be totally crushed before we really get where we're going. And that's when we have like a true crash that like a recession, like a proper recession that that causes interest rates to have to come down over like a relatively near time horizon. And
Well, go ahead.
sorry, my last part of this rant is that I think that is going to be a housing price crash that leads this. This is my prediction, my crystal ball looking at.
Well,
prediction.
haven't seen one of those since 09, so it would definitely be due. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little bit of fun now with an edition of one of our favorite segments, one of everybody's favorite segments, buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega. Of course, we will have our other dope panelists participate, but here we go. Buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega, day trader extraordinaire.
I just bought one.
No, you didn't.
Please sell it.
Oh, no.
Zero. Send it to zero, Easy. This thing is garbage.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero with Easy Eats Bodega. In this segment, we will present several NFT collections and their current floor prices, give a little bit of context, and then Easy will weigh in on whether he is buying that collection, selling that collection, or sending it to zero. You can't hold it. Holding it is not an option. You can either buy it, sell it, or send it to zero. Easy, are you ready for today's edition of Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero?
I was born ready, P.O. Once again, we're back. I'm ready. It's time to dive in.
Let's go. First collection, rektguy at 0.48 ETH. OSF and Mando's collection. OSF and Mando, of course, of Bored Ape Yacht Club, Profit fame, co-hosts at Rug Radio, founders of the DGens ecosystem. Rektguy peaked as high as, get this, 1.9 Ethereum floor price in early January. Gary V bought 8 of them yesterday. It was his first purchase in over 3 months, but the floor is down 27% over the last 7 days. I remember when Gary V buying your collection would pump the price. Anyway, Easy, rektguy at 0.48 ETH. Are you buying it, selling it, or sending it to zero?
I'm a buyer. No hesitation on this one. Immediate buyer. No, absolutely no hesitation. Looking at the floor even right now, we're sitting at just under half an ETH. There's only 4 listings under half an ETH. There's 10 listings under 0.55 when you take a look at Blur. So I feel good about that price action. I don't think a Gary V and who was it? Snoop Dogg bought the other one?
No, who is it, Clemente?
Snowfro.
Oh, they both start with an S. Artists, different verticals.
Same
Close enough,
syllables.
though. Yeah, exactly. Snowfro, Snoop Dogg. Artists, So I'm a huge fan of rektguy. I like the project. The Rekt Chronicles, I think, are going to start getting a lot of traction with the recent shitcoin meta, too. So seeing those, Rekt stories that they post, I just think that they have a good marketing play on it, a good angle on the market. It's down 26% over the last week. Over the last 30 days, it's down almost 50%. It's down bad. So, for me, I think this is getting even closer to a buy zone. You're just not seeing any price action because of gas. So, that's a big reason for me is, I'd almost feel more comfortable even paying up in gas if I could get this near 0.55 with just how thin the listings are. On a collection that's 8,814, only 650 listed, maybe 20 to send it up to 0.7. So even here, sub half an ETH, I think it's largely due to the gas price situation.
Wow. Okay. So a clean buy for rektguy signal. I know you're very familiar with the rektguy and DGen's ecosystem. What's your take?
Yeah, I'm a holder as well, so I'm biased. But for me, it's a buy. I'm just like, for me, it's just like a no-brainer when you have people who are working in the space. They contribute to the space. They've been in it for ages. OSF Amando, lovely guys. OSF is an artist as well. His career just has been like pew, straight up. You know, he's been in Sotheby's. He's been in Sotheby's. He's going to be coming out with more work this year. I just think give this guy time. You know, he's still super young. Like, give him time. I think he's going to become more and more relevant. And then on the business side of things, I think these guys are here to stay. And the PFP collection, the longer it's out, the longer I realize how original it is. When you look at everything in the space and you just kind of look at like what they stand for the test of time, it works in a down market, it works in the up market. The art's original. Yeah, I'm a big fan of rektguy, and I hold this to support the guys, and I would buy more because I think when the next cycle comes around, this will be one of those collections that actually goes up, goes up with everything else. Yeah, OSF and Manda, you can't really fade them.
Spencer, we got another buy call from Signal. Spencer?
I mean, yeah, buy. Look, here's the thing. I love these guys. They're awesome, but that's not like the main reason to buy a collection. B, I think if you look in the last cycle, one of the most consistent metas that popped up over and over again was this like sort of CC0, like shitcoiny feeling, but like high community project. And right now, I think, and who was this? This was Cryptodes, this was MFers, this was rektguy. And if you look within that 3 from last cycle, the one that I think is, and Crypto Dick Butts, I'm going to lump that in, right? I think within those, right now, it's really like Crypto Dick Butts versus rektguy. Crypto Dick Butts obviously have like a 6x floor on rektguy today. I think that's like a little bit bigger of a gap between those, especially when you have one project that's like really being built versus one that's just a meme. And so, like, if you look at that in that context, I think there's really like 3 contenders. There's Madlads, Crypto Dick Butts, and rektguy are the 3 that are vying for like this spot in the market. And if you look at where those other 2 are, you have, Dick Butts sitting in like the 2 or 1 to 2 ETH range. You have Madlads comfortably at like 3.5, right? And so, within that sort of segment of the market, I think it's reasonable to think that rektguy have the most short-term upside, but also like a potential to own the narrative in the next market. I'm not saying they will. I just think it's like a reasonable take.
Fair. Another buy. Kicks? You're muted, buddy.
Buy.
Wow, another buy.
Wow, the rare triple buy.
That is rare on this segment. No added context. Kicks, just buy.
No, I think it's. I think these guys. I really like what Signal laid out. That they're OGs. They want to be around here. Spencer got in on them at a great price. They seem to have a lot of lasting power. And personally, I love their takes, their thought process and analysis on Twitter. So I think these guys will stay relevant for a while. So I'm on board with the buy.
All righty, Bunny. What about you?
I'm selling, dude. You guys all said buy. I was initially a buy when I pulled up the chart, and then all you guys started talking, and I was like, there's too many buys. There's no way you guys all got your finger on the pulse of this thing. If you look at the chart's pretty fucking ugly, dude.
It's terrible.
It's not good. But from like September to November of last year, it was in between like 0.2 and 0.45. And since literally no one's buying NFTs, like I've never seen Gary V not cause at least a temporary some temporary positive price action. I think this is going to bleed a little bit more to like 0.3, 0.4.
All right, I like it. I like Bunny taking the counter position. So just to lock it in, ladies and gentlemen, that was a buy call from Easy. It was actually a buy call from everybody except Bunny. Next collection, Onchain Monkey at 1.4 ETH. So we actually covered these when they were at 3 ETH, and Easy's call was to sell at that price. I'm sure he got a lot of flack because
I got yelled at for like 3 straight days.
because you said at what would be the equivalent of $6,000 you dared say to not buy this NFT. It's at 1.4 ETH, so it's down 50% from there. I don't know if anybody that yelled at you is going to admit that they were wrong. Anyway, on May 31st, they're launching a generative collection on Bitcoin of 300 3D on-chain monkeys, all inscribed on early 2009 Satoshis. For those of you that don't understand, those are like really badass Satoshis to be inscribing on. So easy on-chain monkey at 1.4 ETH.
I don't think it's going to zero, but I'm not a buyer, so I guess sell.
Sell again.
Yeah, this is one for me that just like, and I know I'm going to once again hear some flack about it, but it's just like, it doesn't move the needle for me because they already did the inscription. Now it's like they're resurfacing that inscription. So it just.
Maybe they'll do a BRC20, man.
Yeah, then it would pump because right now BRC20s are cooking. So that would be like the run up. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's an OG community, diehard community. And another thing, like 260 listed out of 9,500 is a really low amount. So clearly their ecosystem enjoys holding this asset. But just for me personally, I'm just not interested in it.
All right, Easy's out. It's a sell call again. I'm sure they'll yell at him again. Not much of a leg to stand on after a 50% retracement since Easy's last sell call. Signal, on-chain monkey, 1.4 ETH.
Yeah, I actually think we got it wrong, actually. Well, you, Easy. Because do you remember you said sell and then it pumped because of the Bitcoin announcement? I don't know if you guys remember, but so it actually went up. I mean, Clemente, we'll have to check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure we said sell and then it went up because of the Bitcoin, but now it's retraced. But I don't know, it's a tough one. Apparently, because the team is super smart. Ray spoke about them when they were on the show as well.
Right.
So it's obviously a very capable team. They've managed to survive and thrive for the last few years. But if this was a personal call, I wouldn't be putting my ETH behind it.
That's literally all it is for me. Like I just don't I just don't see myself deploying 1.4 ETH into this. The founder's great, like really smart guy, has done a ton of dope stuff, but it's just not a project for me.
So just to clarify real quick. To clarify real quick, when they did the ordinals announcement, the floor pumped from 0.8 all the way up to a little bit above 3 ETH, but we basically did buy, sell, send it to zero when it was at the top.
What's up?
Bunny, what were you going to say?
Their royalties are 10% too, right? So if you're buying this at 1.4, you need a pretty good gain to make any money.
Fair. Also, I want to call out too. There's been 5 rektguy sales in the past 8 minutes, and now the floor is at 0.54. So we've had more of a material
I was
impact.
right again. What's up?
I mean, we've had more of a material impact on rektguy than Gary V did. Eat your heart out, Gary V. Get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Please come on the show. Anyway, Kicks, any thoughts on on-chain monkey at 1.4 ETH?
Yeah, dude, definitely send it to zero, man.
Whoa!
Damn!
That was an aggressive move.
Sayonara, motherfucker!
I mean, wow, send it to zero, Kicks. Are you ready for a bunch of alternative Bitcoin guys to jump on you? Like not traditional Bitcoin guys, like alt Bitcoiners?
Yeah, that's the only reason I did it. I actually respect the team a lot, but I really want to hear people yell at me and tell me that BRC20s, which is basically like trading static HTML files that say how many coins you have,
Dude, that's so bullish.
That's the future of trading on-chain currencies. So yeah, I just wanted a little flax. That's the only reason why I said it.
You wanted chaos today. I can tell. You wanted a hectic day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna get canceled. Spencer, on-chain monkey, 1.4 ETH.
I can't make the call here. I don't know anything about this project at all.
Okay, that's
other
fair.
than that Captain Trippy was stuck with it as his PFP for a hot sec.
Because
that's
of
my
like,
only
Twitter
exposure to this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay because it's not buy, sell, or send it to zero with Spencer. So if you got to pass, you got to pass. The only person that can't pass is Easy. And he can't pass on this third and final collection. Madlads at 64 Solana. That's $1,300 since nobody is aware of pricing in Solana, apparently. We learned that through the Utes and D-Gods migration. So just to give some context, after peaking at over 100 Solana, the collection has pulled back roughly 40%. As Easy as previously stated, there's increased interest in Solana with the spiked gas fees on ETH. Also should be noted that there was a pretty robust gas fee discussion happening in the YouTube comments that I saw. That's just not something you see every day. Usually people are just talking about collections that they own because they, take it very, very personally if anybody says anything negative about a collection they own. Instead, it was a gas fee related conversation. So I don't know, maybe the people have a bunch of Matic and Solana, and that's why they were getting frustrated with each other. Anyway, sentiment on Twitter still appears to be high as the Madlad team continues to experiment with the collection using Backpack. Should be noted, I've seen some pretty notable Twitter profiles having them as their profile picture. Nick Carter comes to mind from the Bitcoin world. Anyway, Easy, Madlads at 64 Solana, that is $1,300 US. You're muted, buddy.
Yeah, I'm a buyer here. As wild as it may sound, they seem to still be in this slightly higher uptrend. Like as I continue to look at it, with each sell-off, it does appear that buyers step in. They just officially did 3 million Solana volume across marketplaces, or 3 million USD volume across markets, which is insane considering they launched 14 days ago. So 3 mil in secondary volumes, nothing to flock at, especially in a bear. And it's seeing them hold the 63 floor was really impressive. They did what they said was a snapshot, had everyone like all excited, and then they launched an app in their wallet that just rickrolled you. So like said claim snapshot, you clicked it, it just played the rickroll video in your wallet. So like XNFTs are this sort of play that is like dynamic NFTs. Like people have made like Flappy Bird as an NFT and stuff like that lets you like programmatically put code into the asset in the wallet. And I just think there's a lot of potential with it. The founder, Armani, is one of the OG like creators of the underlying tech stack for Solana and the contract behind it, and also worked with SBF at FTX, left there to create Backpack. And he's just, I mean, you look at the guy's GitHub, and I think he's literally had a Git push every single day since 2018. Like the guy just loves to code. So I think that alone gives me confidence in them to just try a bunch of stuff, and whatever the ecosystem really likes, they're just going to double down on. And they're not scared to take swings and risks and have a little bit of fun with it, which I think the space needs more of. So kind of a long-winded rant, but I just really like the team. I do not hold any of these at the moment. So I'm excited to see what they end up doing, but I do think it's a buy here.
We got a buy call on Madlads. I will just open it up if anybody has perspective on this. I know that the panel largely is not mega active on Solana. Does anybody have any perspective? Spencer, I think that there's been VC contribution to this collection one way or another. I don't know if this crossed your desk at any point or if Backpack did or anything from that ecosystem.
Maybe? Yeah, I think I've definitely heard of Madlads and seen some talk about it. I think the narrative that they need to own to be really successful is the like Frank replacement narrative. And so I'm curious, like that's kind of where I see Solana right now is and that's a narrative that takes time. Is like D-Gods and Utes were pretty undisputed as the number one on Solana, and I don't feel as though there is currently an as undisputed number one. I think you have Claynosaurs, you have Madlads, are like the things that at least I've heard of on the ETH side that have some legs. But I think that it still hasn't been enough time since the migration of Utes and D-Gods to ETH for those to establish. Because what you see a lot of the time is it's very easy to have a flash in the pan takeover of that spot. But what Frank had done was it didn't feel like a flash in the pan, right? There was like 6 to 8 months where it felt like, okay, like Utes and D-Gods are just number one on this chain. And I think we will see another collection that feels like that, but it necessarily takes time, right? And those two seem like the collections that to me are in running. And Easy may correct me, but right now it feels like it's really a two-legged race between Madlads and Claynosaurs for like the top spot there.
But seeing like OK Bears get a couple of legs here again, like after their recent release and rollout, and they've just really doubled down on a lot of stuff. I think you're spot on though. Like Claynosaurs have this really strong cult following, existing team, but it's almost like I think we're going to see a few projects actually emerge and really start to kind of carve out their niche. You know, like Madlads being far more tech focused, Claynosaurus being far more animation, IP, entertainment focused. And I think you end up seeing like a couple of these key participants start to lead a charge.
Yeah, I like it. Signal and Kicks, any thoughts on this? Understand if you're unfamiliar. Yeah, Kicks, nothing from you or?
Yeah, I just don't know enough to really make a comment on it. But I mean, I do know if you bought that, you made a crap ton of money. So
there you go. Bunny, any thoughts on Madlads?
Doesn't the Solana Foundation pump that easy?
They do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I would buy it because of that. Also, I feel like Famous Fox Federation is like in the running with the other two.
They don't do any marketing though. They're just a great team. Like they'll always trade.
No,
50
their floor
to
is just as high.
Yeah, but it's been that high since Sol was $200 and where it's $20. It literally is just super glued.
There you go. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's edition of Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero. It was a buy for rektguy at 0.48 ETH, which literally resulted in market activity. Is that still happening? There were 5 sales. Yes. Okay. So just like 5 sales from that, but that was interesting. Onchain Monkey at 1.4 ETH. That was a. Sorry, I got a call, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually astonishing how little that happens. Been doing this show for 2 years. I very rarely get calls in this 9 to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time window. Anyway, it was a sell from Onchain Monkey at 1.4 ETH. It was a buy of Madlads at 64 Sol. That's $1,300 US. And that's your edition of Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero. Clemente, shall we drop a free NFT?
Absolutely. The password for today's free NFT is Jungle 6. JUNGLE and then the number 6. You can go claim this at thenifty.com/claim. And we're going to go ahead and claim it right now, ladies.
Claiming it on screen on YouTube right now. Getting our little animation here with the brand theme. Here we go. And there you go. It's another NFT in the Bodago's Relics collection, the Collar of the Wild. The Collar of the Wild is a legendary artifact of the lush and untamed jungle. As it hovers above a mystical shrine, the Collar of the Wild glows with an emerald light that illuminates the verdant greenery around it. Very cool. Collar of the Wild from the Bodago's Relics collection. Again, go to thenifty.com/claim. The password is jungle6 to claim today's free NFT. That platform's only going to change for the better. It's only going to evolve, and we're only going to ship more stuff with it, unlike what Opensea did for a really long time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Make sure that you sign up at thenifty.com for a free NFT. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Follow everybody that's on the show on Twitter. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. We will catch you guys.